Hey there, and welcome to Happiness Factory Gardens. Behind me and all around me is our backyard, which we are converting into a farm garden, the beginning stages of our enterprise into gardening and farming. And I'd like to take you all along for the ride. So if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead, finish building our fence, which we started a few days ago, putting up the wiring yesterday, and yeah, we'll go from there. Well, one's way too long, one's way too short, and I guess we'll see what the last one is. If not, we'll have to combine two or cut down the big one. Let's see. I guess we're gonna have to cut one down, so I will check in a little bit later. All right, so got it cut, got the fence cut, and got it fitted to the other fence, and so it's looking pretty good. I got some advice from our handy neighbor who actually gave us this fence used from his yard. They weren't using it anymore, and he gave it to us. But while the camera was off, he actually came over and gave me some advice on how to build the door, which is gonna go right, let's see, right there. It's gonna be a swinging door, swing open this way or this way. Oh wait, that way, whichever way. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Once I get done with this fence, I'm gonna take you all on a little tour of the garden and the property and show everything that we've got going so far. So stay tuned. All right, so I still have some tying to do on that fence. I have a second roll of the garden tie. We couldn't get baling wire because we were, as most of you probably know, there's a pandemic going on, so we wanted to limit our number of stops. And we were going to the garden store anyways to get our seeds so we could grow our food. So while we were there, we got the garden ties and are using that instead of baling wire, but it's not as strong. So I'm gonna go and do a second application on anywhere in the fence that seems a little bit weak. And I think that's it for right now. I'm gonna finish that up and then I'll take you all on the tour. All right. All right, so I finished up the fence. I just have to install the door. So it is time for your tour. This will start off in the shed. It's a beginner phase 1 shed setup. It's a mess. We got all kinds of stuff in here, but I do have my tools. The few tools that I have soil that's left over from when we built our bed. And I have my gloves, and then of course I have my shoe change center. Put my shoes on when I'm ready to garden or do anything physical in the garden, and then I change back into my sandals when I'm ready to go back inside, or when I'm ready to give you all a tour. So that's the shed. Then we have, I'm gonna do some backwards walking since I don't have a way to flip the camera back and forth. But this is from the shed. That's our backyard, and garden station area. Right there is the fence I was just building. That's our garden bed. It's in ground. I spent a few weeks digging it out and then amending the soil with some soil conditioner, some cocoa coir, green sand, and then some actual potting soil. And then we put potting soil in rows on top just for the added effect, something for the seeds to start in, and then to give extra space for the roots to hit something other than our hard compacted clay that we have all over the yard everywhere. That's what this property is built on. So we have to do a lot of soil work if we're going to be planting in ground. So I did that in that bed. And then over here is a trellis that we built for Indian vegetables, or general exotic non-conventional vegetables that are climbers, specifically. And yeah, I'll walk over here and show you, but in that I dug into the ground again, but very shallowly, and then I put potting soil on top in a little mound on all four sides. How does this go? I'm working backwards here. And that, all four sides there are have potting soil in them, and we planted some edamame on one side and this side, and it's already coming up. So I'll walk over to the garden area and show you all what we have plants wise coming up. All right, so this is the trellis area I was talking about. See, all four sides have potting soil in it. And then I put starter soil on top just to, since the potting soil isn't very deep, I wanted to give some extra growing room for the roots. So there's a layer of potting soil, of starter soil on top of here. And I did use potting soil just because I wanted to make sure it would grow, everything would grow. I could have used ground, good soil for in-ground use, but I actually bought the potting soil before I realized that there was a difference between potting soil and in-ground soil when it comes to nice organic soils. And so I just I went with what we had, but it should work. It washes away a little bit and it's expensive, so that's the downside, but it's growing everything really nicely. We have some edamame coming up here. As you can see, every single one came up. Perfect germination along the row. And then that's the trellis. See, we built the trellis. Everything here was built by us. There was nothing before we got here. It was just an empty backyard. We have some potted plants over here. These were non-organic from the store plants. There's tomato, pepper. Everything else here is organic. That's organic store-bought strawberries. That's organic store-bought mint, which we have yet to plant in its pot. All the seeds, all the soil, everything else is organic except for those potted plants, the tomatoes and peppers. We also bought an organic pepper plant, which we potted in over here. We're trying to keep this bed completely organic. Of course, the marigolds are not organic, which I realized later that that might be leaking some pesticides, old residue, down into the soil. So I'm going to take these marigolds out and clean out the roots, and then plant them around the bed to deter pests or unwanted animal life, I guess you could say. So let's go over to the bed and see what we have growing in here. There is, this first row is radish, white icicle radish. Then the second row is pak choi, which is mustard greens. third row, this is broccoli, and all of it came up. We just planted those. Then over here are beets. This is, I believe, leeks. Those haven't come up yet, but the beets have come up. Over there was a little experiment. Those are beets as well, and those are coming up. And then over here, we have these patches are for greens. This is going to be for some Indian greens that have very shallow roots and just grow straight up. So it's kind of like microgreens, but macro. That's what I keep saying. It's like really tall, but you sprinkle it all over and they germinate and just grow straight up. Don't get in each other's way. Over there is there's 4 rows of spinach that we just planted, and they're starting to pop up. That's the organic pepper plant that we bought from the store. Those are bell peppers. The non-organic are hot peppers. Then over there's either cantaloupe or watermelon. We have to check once it grows because we didn't take any notes, which was a mistake, but we like to do stuff with our minds and expand our minds and learn what we're doing by heart rather than writing it. So we might not take notes. We might take notes next time, but this is one of those melons. It has come up, even though it's been cold lately. So, but it is the beginning of spring. So, yeah, we'll hopefully get things rolling here. We have mostly winter veggies in, but we're about to put all of our spring and summer veggies in. This is our rock garden. These all came up from just this bed and the bed under the trellis, or the area under the trellis. That's where all of these rocks are from. So it's really rocky clay soil, but I got almost everything out of this bed and things seem to be growing nicely. So we'll see. Yeah, and let me show you, we also have some potted, over there is potted blackberry, which was store-bought and inorganic or unorganic, which I'm not too thrilled about, but we'll make it work. That's blueberry over there, same deal. We're going to we're going to grow it all organically, even if we buy it unorganically, and we're going to try to limit buying things already growing. Over there, if you can barely see it, probably faintly, that's a raspberry plant. And then in front of the house, we have roses, which all of those, the berries and the roses are all inorganic. But from here on out, they'll be grown organically. So I guess you could think of it as a, saving their lives from organic use, or inorganic, saving their lives from inorganic abuse. So anyways, yeah, and this is the forest that we have behind our house. We have, it's pine, oak, some other things. And then there's a little creek straight down there. It runs like that. Runs out into the Tar River, which is here in North Carolina, which runs out to the ocean. So if we wanted to, we could follow that creek out to the ocean. But yeah, our property runs into that forest all the way down to the creek and includes the banks of this side of the creek. So we'll probably end up planting some mint down there. And doing some other things, maybe some mushrooms in the forest. We can harvest the pine come pollen season, or harvest the pine pollen come pollen season. But we'll see. That's our fire pit we built. That was our first project when we got here. And we got those from a fallen tree our neighbor chopped up, gave to us. Yeah, so anyways, that's our little Happiness Factory Gardens project for you all. And I'll be updating you. I'll be keeping you all in the loop with everything that we do. Stick around. And one last thing I forgot to mention. Well, these are our roses, but roses, knockout roses, actually pink knockout roses. What are they? They are Let's check. I can't remember exactly. They're double knockout roses, I think. Yeah, pink double knockout roses, which are apparently very resilient, which is good for us since we don't really know what we're doing caring for roses. But anyways, the thing I was going to mention is if you want to follow along with our journey, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to stay updated with our future uploads. And yeah, come along for the ride. Share our channel, share this video, hit the like button, and leave a comment if you want to interact. We'll be glad to interact with you and very grateful for everything that you might have to say about our little Happiness Factory Gardens project. Until next time, take care.